Hi, welcome back to Recap Pro. Today I'll recap a drama mystery film called Blindness. Spoilers ahead. The film begins when a young professional Japanese guy suddenly goes blind when his sight is slowly losing its colors, turning his vision into plain white while driving his car at an intersection. Complaints from public and private vehicle drivers are heard within the place as they are interrupted by his sudden halt, causing a stir on the road. A passerby interferes and checks on his status. After a while, a suspicious passerby offers help to send the Japanese guy home. Upon assisting the Japanese guy in swapping places on the driver's seat, the guy takes over the steering wheel. As they drive along the highway, the blind man narrates his experience during this sickness. Everything is white as if he is swimming in a sea of milk. The guy starts telling the blind man that it is the first time that he has heard of such a case because a usual blind person may only see black. Upon reaching the destination, he asks the Japanese guy to exit the car. The latter obliges. Without his knowledge, the guy leaves him in the middle of the road. He almost gets hit by the passing vehicles. Moments later, the suspicious guy comes back and assists him to the nearby building where the Japanese guy lives. Upon reaching the unit, the guy surveys the apartment while the Japanese struggle in locating where he goes. The suspicious guy continuously invades their home as he checks every corner and offers to assist him until his wife returns, but the Japanese guy declines. Pushing the intruder outside, he asks the stranger to leave as he can now manage on his own. The latter then go. Ironically, the Japanese guy peeks through the peephole, checking if the guy has already left, despite being blind. The Japanese guy's wife goes home and sees the broken glass pieces near the door entrance. She starts complaining about her husband's behavior and ignoring the fractured pieces lying on the floor. Upon seeing that he is just sleeping on the couch despite the dirty and unorganized surroundings, the wife strides her way in his direction and sees his hands covered with a bloody cloth. The Japanese guy wakes up and narrates that he is blind. The wife immediately rummages through their things as she looks for the hotline of an ophthalmologist. Deciding to visit the hospital quickly, the wife drags her husband downstairs to look for a taxi as she finds out that their car key is missing. Minutes later, the nurse approaches them as she informs the couple that it is now their turn to see the doctor. Unfortunately, those people, especially the mother of a young boy who is also waiting, complain as the Japanese guy is being prioritized despite waiting for their turn for hours. But the guy with a black eye patch convinces the mother that they must give way to the Japanese guy as his case is more severe than theirs. The doctor examines the Japanese guy's eyes, and he discovers that his eyes are normal. However, the Japanese guy complains that he sees nothing but white surroundings. As the doctor honestly confesses that he had never encountered such a case, he tells them that they still have to perform several tests to confirm his eye problem. The doctor gives them a note of prescription that the wife may give to the nurses to inform their staff on how to assist her husband during their checkup properly. Meanwhile, the guy who helped the Japanese escaped and stole his car. He drives along a dark road to get away without any trace till he sees cops having a checkpoint. As he knows that he has committed a crime, he maneuvers the car in the opposite direction to escape, but to his surprise, the roads are closed. Leaving him with no choice, he abandons the car and crosses the road. Unfortunately, he starts having the same symptoms the Japanese guy has first experienced, as if a blinding light is slowly conquering his eyesight. The doctor uses a phoropter to measure the refractive error of the child's needed eyeglass number. The doctor assists the child during the test until the patient tells the optometrist that he can now see better. Then, another female patient came in and recommended that she wear her sunglasses, except for showering and when she's sleeping. Upon going home, the doctor discusses the Japanese guy's strange case with his wife. However, their conversation did not turn out well as their discussion became obnoxious. His wife feels offended as his intelligent husband unknowingly disregards her feelings throughout their conversation. On the other hand, the woman with her eyeglasses purchased something in the store. Afterward, she rides a taxi to travel and meets someone in the Hotel Emiliano. She asks the bartender if he has extra time, and the bartender mentions that he still has 20 minutes left. They've decided to enter a hotel room as they participate in doing something naughty, a time to blow off some steam while exchanging loud and euphoric moans. After reaching their climax, the woman tells the guy that she has been seeing white and nothing more. She gets blinded. The bartender leaves her panicking naked outside their hotel room. The next day, the doctor wakes up and identifies himself as blind as he recognizes his case is similar to the Japanese guy's condition. When the doctor's wife asks him about his situation, he narrates that an infectious disease must have infected him from his previous patient. His wife tries to assess his condition, but the doctor declines to have further interactions with her as he speculates that it is contagious. But his wife is persistent. She calms him down till she can hold him and check his eyes. When they have figured out their current situation, The doctor calls the hospital to report and inform his colleagues if the condition worsens. The disease spreads like wildfire as citizens around the city are going blind. This causes an alarming widespread panic as people from everywhere are now blind. The government addresses this crisis as they organize a quarantine facility that can accommodate the infected blind patients in derelict asylum. A hazmat crew arrives as he picks up the doctor in his home. But as he is about to leave, his wife pretends that she also has gone blind and joins her husband in the ambulance. The health officer allows her as she decides to go with them. As they are the first ones to arrive at the asylum, the doctor's wife inspects the facility to know what the amenities are. As they sit on the bed to discuss their setup, the doctor encourages his wife to go back and save herself from being infected. But his wife is quite persistent in assisting him no matter the circumstance. Later on, many patients experiencing the white sickness arrive at the asylum. Just like a domino effect, all the people that the Japanese guy and the doctor have interacted with, from the thief, the driver, and other patients of the doctor, are in the facility. The woman wearing the eyeglasses asks the doctor about the availability of beds in the facility. The doctor responds and informs them about it. However, they notice that something is off, especially since they are all blind in the ward, so they question the doctor about his information spill. The doctor hides life's secret of not losing her sight. Instead, he informs them that they have already checked the area. The thief blames the Japanese guy for the disease that he has acquired. The latter fights back and criticizes the guy's stealing behavior. Then, the fist fight as the thief tackles the Japanese guy on the bed before they fall to the floor. Immediately, the doctor, who his wife assists, tries to stop the two childish individuals as they separate them from punching each other. The child feels a tingling sensation in his bladder. He asks the woman with the glasses to assist him in the comfort room, but the rest fall in line to guide each other in locating it. Of course, since the doctor's wife is not infected, she is the one who is teaching them about the room, as she explains that she has already counted the steps going there. But then, the thief tries taking advances on the mother as his hands slowly crawl from her waist to her chest, targeting her melons so he can massage them. Violated by his actions, she kicked his leg, and the thief fell to the ground. It caused him a massive wound as her shoe's sole struck him. The doctor and his wife attend to his needs and use their cloth to cover his injuries. More patients arrive, and the doctor and his wife ask them to state their information to know how many more patients will stay in their ward. One of the newly infected patients is the Japanese guy's wife. Upon hearing her voice, the guy calls for his honey, but the woman struggles to find her husband. The doctor and his wife exit their room to seek help from the guards securing their war, but the guards point their guns at the couple and the guards warn them of being taken down if they do not go back and leave them alone. Left with no choice, the wife assists her husband to go back to their room to end the rising tension between them. The white sickness epidemic has gone viral, infecting more patients every diary. The government has ignored the blind patients as a lack of food supply, and medical supplies are needed to cure their sickness. The doctor's wife uses the emergency telephone to address this concern as she demands a harsh response from the outside world. More blind people are sent to the asylum as overcrowding of the ward starts to become a problem. The community has become unclean and disorganized as more people live there. Due to a lack of government and outside support, the living conditions quickly degrade as days pass. The doctor introduces himself in the ward as he discusses the guidelines they must follow to organize their facility. His wife assisted the blind patients with all her might without revealing her ability to see. In the comfort room, the doctor's wife frustratingly observes the blind patients bathing and complaining. Suddenly, a noise catches her attention, so she roams around the comfort room to see where it is coming from. Upon seeing the guy with an eye patch, she greets him, and the man immediately asks him for an extra battery that he can use on his radio. Upon finding out about the radio, Ward 1 listens to the owner's narration of the happenings in the outside world. He also discusses the government's response to the epidemic that is currently happening. The blindness results from widespread panic as various accidents and chaotic incidents are recorded. After his storytelling, he made his fellows listen to a melody where Ward 1 thoroughly enjoys the refreshing music that helps them celebrate their tears and sorrow. Due to the rising cases, the government has now ordered a shoot-to-kill response if the infected patients cross the borders that they have set. Those who accidentally invaded the line are gunned down and killed, and several dead bodies are lying on the ground. Orders from the sound system are heard, and the doctor's wife follows the direction and picks up the shovel, leaving the guards with a middle finger before turning her back. The allocation of burying the dead body and the rise of patients results in a scarcity of food, causing anxiety and conflicts between the prison wards. The doctor goes toward 3 as he addresses a proper division of work and food supply, but the man with the handgun appoints himself as a king and takes control of everything. The self-appointed king ignores the doctor's negotiation and merely mocks him right in front of his face. The thief is having difficulty walking through the facility's exit door as he regains his balance by taking support from the wall. Unfortunately, when he successfully made it outside, the guards securing the area were shocked by his sudden appearance, so the guard repeatedly shot him. Meanwhile, the self-appointed king of Ward 3 announces the changes in the food deliveries as he demands payments. Using his gun, he made an order and tried manipulating the distribution by asking for their valuables in exchange for food. The doctor's wife complains about his orders, but the self-proclaimed king warns her. The woman does not back down and threatens him. The Ward 1 complains to the doctor about their setup, but he explains that they are the underdog in the situation as they have a weapon. Instead, they must submit to save themselves from further complications. His wife started collecting their valuables and their jewelry so that they could get their food supplies immediately. Upon searching for one of the woman's things, the doctor's wife hides a scissor in her pocket, a weapon that she may use in the future. The monopoly starts. The accountant and the self-proclaimed king control the food distribution. When it is the Ward 1's turn, the doctor is the one who will be collecting their goods. Upon retrieval, he hears the accountant's usage of a braille writer, which indicates that he is born as an average blind person. The doctor tries appealing to the accountant's emotions as he seeks empathy toward their condition. The doctor encourages the accountant to side on equality for everyone's welfare, but the self-appointed king points his gun at the doctor's chin to stop him from complaining. Proving his point of dominance, the king of Ward 3 lets the doctor out, making him submit to his power. Weeks later, Ward 3 had a new plan, and the king announced the new order: women, in exchange for food. The doctor's wife asks for help with guards, but she has been told that there is no left food for them. There is an ongoing meeting regarding the new ordinance. Men and women complain about their situation, but they are left with no choice. When the doctor states his stand on their position slowly, women, including his wife, start volunteering to exchange themselves to provide food supplies in their wards. Suddenly, the Japanese guy declines to allow his wife to join this activity, but his wife disobeys him. Till the fortunate event arrives, the accountant visits their wards to collect their 9 women's food for that night. After eating bread, these women will serve numerous men, aggressors. When it is time for torture, the women have been repeatedly used and abused as these aggressive men have extracted nectars from their private parts. Unfortunately, one of the women who sacrificed herself for food dies. The woman cleans up her overused body to at least serve her for the last time. The doctor's wife finally decides to execute her plan of weaponizing the scissor to eliminate their oppressors. She goes to where the men of Ward 3 currently enjoy abusing the women in their facility. With hatred visible in her eyes, she strides her way to the king's direction and stabs him in his neck to end his dictatorship. But the accountant notices her presence, so he retrieves the gun to kill her, but she strategically dodges and uses a human shield for dual purposes: eliminate the opponent and save herself from being shot. Returning to their ward, the man in the black eye patch encourages everyone to get their supplies by hook or crook. Suddenly, the electricity seems to be cut off, then the doctor's wife confesses that she has her eyesight. One of the raped women successfully sneaked out to burn down the dead king's ward. The fire engulfed the building as it painfully burned a lot of inmates alive. The doctor's wife discovers that the guards have abandoned their posts. When she sought help, the building was set on fire. She immediately announces that they are now free and will only live in a dead, chaotic city. Checking the vicinity, the doctor's wife leaves her fellows in a safe place to seek food. Her husband joins her to assist her in bringing back food. While they roam around the city, more blind people struggle to survive. Later on, she discovers a well-stocked basement. As she leaves the place safely because more people smell the resources she recovered. They are fighting over the food supply in her hand. The rain has started pouring, and the people begin enthusiastically bathing. The exchanging of hugs as if it is the first time that they have all reconnected, as it also washed away their sorrow after being imprisoned. The movie ends when the doctor and his wife then invite their colleagues into their house, wherein they can all accommodate them during their struggle. Luckily, the Japanese guy who was the first patient announced that he was slowly regaining his vision. This proves that blindness is just a temporary disease that they may all recover from sooner or later. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel.